Welcome to the next episode of Distorted Dimensions, a Terror 29 podcast. I'm super excited for this episode. We have Sam and Casey from Screams from the Basement podcast. What's up, you guys?
We're good. How are you doing?
Good. Welcome to the show.
Yeah,
we're screaming with excitement to be here.
Screaming, so pumped. I love it. I want to know, kind of just to get started with, what is Screams from the Basement podcast? What do you guys talk about? What do you do? What's the podcast all about?
It's basically a horror movie book club. Casey and I, we have a podcast where every other week we talk a double feature of two horror movies that sometimes pair really well together and other times are kind of random.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the off weeks, we do interviews with filmmakers or just people in the horror community, in the filmmaking community, about what they're working on and their projects and the process behind making spooky stuff.
It's just an excuse for me and Sam to talk about horror all the time.
Yeah,
all day, every day.
Yeah. Literally, that's how this started. So we had a movie, just a blank movie podcast where we talked about every type of movie before this. And then we took a break from that, and during that time, it was still me and Sam texting each other every day to be like, what horror movie are you watching? You going to go watch this movie? Like, let's go to the state and watch a horror movie together. So finally, we're like, yeah, we just really like doing this. Why don't we just talk about horror movies on a podcast? Because nobody else does that on the internet. And so, we decided to start Screams from the Basement, and it was a pretty easy decision
Okay.
to do. Besides picking out a name, that was the hardest part.
Fair. That
Doing the podcast was the easy part.
Yeah,
Thinking of a name was the hardest
That
part.
took us forever, too. We wanted Eerie Echoes, and then that was taken. Because we were going to do it last year, and then like around April or May, a podcast just hit the scene called Eerie Echoes. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
You stole our name.
I know. But then when I Googled Distorted Dimensions, I did not find a podcast with that exact. There's Twisted, there's all sorts of different combos, but Distorted Dimensions, we got lucky. So I get it.
Nice.
I know it's not fun coming up with a name. But what was the precursor? So before, like, how did you even meet Sam? Because I thought you once told me that you're like, once you met Sam, I knew we had to work together. Like, how did you guys even meet?
You said that?
Yeah.
Wow.
He does like you.
So
you are.
I do.
Crazy.
I do like you. That's why I'm sitting so close to you on the couch. I do actually like you. We met from our mutual friend Blake Gennethan, who found an article you wrote on Medium. Is that what it's called?
I was on Medium. I was writing a lot of just like movie reviews and think pieces at the time, and I think it was like my Bride of Frankenstein article that he saw, and yeah.
And then he's like, hey, let's get Sam on the podcast to talk about horror and movies in general. So we got you on.
Was the Killer Countdown?
Killer Countdown was that podcast that we did. And it was like ranking horror movies. Do you remember what yours?
Oh, what was that?
Your first one?
So, like, how long ago would have this even been?
2020, summer of 2020.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was like pandemic.
Sure.
Yeah, it was because we met for the first time.
At West Mall.
At West Mall, because we rented, like, a group rented out the theater and they invited me, and we watched Jaws.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
At West Mall the summer of 2020, and I can't remember what the first topic was. I know the second topic I did with you guys was Final Girls, because I did that list with you, or maybe that was the first one. I can't remember.
That might have been the first.
It might have been the first one.
It's crazy how it probably feels like yesterday, and it feels like it was so long ago at the
Yeah.
same time.
Like, it's
So
crazy because it is it's been 5 years.
5 years. Yeah. The weird thing is, like, we both grew up in Iowa.
Yeah.
You were more in the like central part of the state.
Yeah.
I was in northwest Iowa. We're roughly the same age. Like, Sam's a year older than me.
Yeah.
But it just feels like we had a very similar high school experience, and I feel like
We were both in, like, speech and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
like we were definitely in the same place at the same time in high school.
Yeah.
We are 100% certain of that, but
Yeah.
hadn't met each other until 5 years ago.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's so wild.
And we're like,
Are
we would have been friends in high school, and then
Yeah.
now we're a bunch of 30-year-olds.
And now you get to be friends now. Better late than never.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Are you guys Cyclone fans?
What's a cyclone?
I do like tornadoes. They're pretty cool. I like to watch them outside.
The Iowa Cyclones.
I don't do sports too much.
Same, actually. I shouldn't have thrown a sports question to us horror nerds.
us horror nerds.
Like,
Yeah.
why would I even do that? That's my only thing I really know about Iowa.
I watch hockey, and that's about it.
Okay.
And that's just because they fight, and
That's true. They do fight.
It's a violent sport.
You
and
could also just watch wrestling.
I watch. Casey got me hooked on wrestling.
Mhm.
Actually,
It's
I've
true.
been
It's
watching
true.
wrestling for the last 3 years now.
3
maybe
years?
Yeah, 3,
2 years.
2 years, 2
Yeah.
years. Yeah,
Fair.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll have New Sound Wrestling at your guys' con, which we'll talk about after a
Yeah.
bit.
Mm-hmm.
But tell me more about like Screams from the Basement then. So you had just a generic movie podcast. You wanted to get rid of that, and then you start this Screams from the Basement podcast.
Yeah, so our old podcast was called Backlot 605.
Oh,
So
okay. Was
obviously-
that with Casey? Or
That
like
was-
the other Casey?
No, I'm Casey.
I know who you are.
Brian was our other co-host.
Okay, I'm thinking of it. Isn't there like a Casey Cutesack or something that had a podcast?
I don't know.
Never mind. Anyway,
And
continue.
every Sioux Falls podcast has 605 in it. That's probably
and a
where you-
Casey, apparently.
Apparently.
Yeah.
That's all we do. That's all we know how to do is make podcasts with 605 in the name. But we were doing that for a while, and it kind of felt like we almost pigeonholed ourselves with that name being one of it, of like, well, we can kind of only do Sioux Falls, South Dakota related stuff. We did that, which was cool, and we built our group that allowed us to do stuff at like the West Mall to
Mhm.
show movies there, and it kind of felt like we accomplished what we needed to with that. And so we're like, all right, we're going to take a break. We're doing other stuff. We're running film festivals at that point.
Yeah.
You and I were working on Last Stop by the time that ended. So we were doing stuff outside of podcasting. But then again, like I said, we were still talking about horror movies all the time. So we're like,
Fair.
we need to just start a podcast, do it just you and I, horror movies. That's our focus. That's our passion. And just do horror movies.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's so cool. And you guys do it weekly.
Weekly.
You have
Mhm.
new episodes drop on what, Fridays?
Every Friday.
Fridays, Yeah.
Yep.
Every Friday on probably all platforms,
All
right?
platforms, Apple, Spotify, YouTube. It didn't start off that way either.
Oh,
Yeah.
do tell that story then.
Well, we were just going to do generic topics every 2 weeks just for us to
Yeah.
get it out into the world of like, all right, this is what we've been watching, or here's our
Yeah.
topic that we want to talk about. And then we started getting interviews. And
Yeah.
so I think it was after the second interview we did where we're like, we should just do this every week.
Yeah. So it started, like, when we started, we were like, we don't want another, like, with Backlot, we were recording at least 8 episodes a month between the main channel and then our Patreon that we had launched. And going into Screams, we were like, we don't want to be, like, super busy. Like, we want to leave time for other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And within, like, 6 months of us doing Screams, it completely became another,
Its own animal.
another, basically, like, another Backlot, just horror focused. And, I don't know. No regrets.
Yeah, no regrets. I mean,
Is it-
we're always busy. Like we
Yeah.
do podcast every week. We do our other sister podcast, I guess, The Bad
The
Signal,
Bad
which
Signal.
is in partnership with Bad Handbooks. We do that every other week. We still work on the Last Stop TV series. We do stuff at the State Theater now. We run
Yeah.
our own film festival in Vermilion. Like we're
You guys
constantly-
are constantly
we're
busy.
constantly busy, but I don't regret any of it.
Fair. Let's talk about all the above.
Yeah.
So definitely the film festival that you guys do. Last year was your first one, right?
Mhm.
Well, so actually you've done film festivals for a long time
Yeah.
with SuperCon, but
Yeah.
your very own one in Vermilion. Let's talk about that a little bit, because I'd assume you're doing it again.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah.
It's actually, well, I don't know when this will drop, but when we're recording this, we're actually we're making the big announcement for Vortex, the second year, tomorrow.
Okay.
at,
Yeah, this episode will definitely drop after that.
Yeah. So if you're listening to this, we've already announced.
We've
Vortex
already
2 is
announced.
happening. Yeah.
Last weekend of September in Vermilion, South Dakota.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Heck yeah.
Yeah, we did SuperCon
I did 4 years.
4 years of it, 2021 to 2024.
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
about right.
And we didn't have one during the pandemic, and I did 2019. So
Yeah.
5 years
Okay, sure.
doing that.
But we were part of SuperCon in 2020 because we did a live show that was part of the virtual
Yeah,
SuperCon.
We just didn't do a film fest.
We didn't do a film fest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
So, and it was just, SuperCon was great. Like running that film fest was awesome. We built up like a community of local filmmakers that, we'd have people that were submitting films every year. And I have no regrets about anything we did with SuperCon, but we were also screening them in a conference room
Right.
as part of a larger convention where people would open the door and you'd hear all the loud people in the hallway spilling in.
Doing everything.
And it just wasn't completely conducive to like what we actually wanted out of a film festival.
Right.
And so, we talked to Casey just asked Shannon from the Coyote Twin in Vermilion, point blank, just like, have you ever thought about doing a film festival here? While we were tabling for SuperCon.
Okay.
And she was like, actually, yes. And like within, like, it was what, a year and a month, we had a film fest there?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Because we were there in September, and then we officially announced it in April, and then had it the next September.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
About a year from idea to it actually happening.
Yeah.
And we brought in filmmakers. We did the South Dakota premiere of Lost on a Mountain in Maine, which was produced by Sylvester Stallone.
Yep.
We brought in Frogman, which was a big found footage hit last year.
Yeah.
We brought in the director for that as well. Like, it was a huge success. Like, they said it was their biggest event they've ever done at that theater, and
That's awesome. You
that
guys.
was the first year. So like
Fair.
we're
So
hoping
year
it gets
2 is
bigger
gonna
and
be
better
epic.
every year.
Do you have any teases of what you guys are planning this year?
No. We have no idea. We legitimately don't have any
Fair.
idea.
Not yet. You got time though.
Yeah.
We've got lists of things we'd like to see and lists of movies and filmmakers we'd like to bring in. Nothing solid yet.
Fair.
But,
It's
you
so
know,
early days.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the Last Stop series, because I'm kind of intrigued about that, and that you guys were a part of that.
Yeah.
So do tell.
I was actually at Last Stop last night recording commentary for the DVD release.
Okay.
Yeah, Last Stop is it was made by Dominic Weinecke and Zeke Richter, two filmmakers from the area. And like Dom is primarily a horror guy. He did the feature film Death Rot and like a bunch of other horror shorts that we've played at SuperCon and things like that. But he wanted to try his hand at comedy, and him and Zeke got together and they were writing these scripts, and they were doing this before even they were doing this back in 2019.
Pre-COVID, yeah.
Yeah, and then COVID hit, and the whole thing got put on ice for a little while.
Wow.
you know?
So it's been in development that long.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and so I think
I
it
think
was
Dom
like,
said it was 7-8 years almost since
Holy
Yeah.
cow.
first idea of it to now.
That's insane.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is like I remember seeing a casting call for it and thinking, oh, I might go audition for that. And then I think I was out of town that weekend, and I was just like, well, cards just weren't in my favor, whatever. And jump like 2-3 years later, and we're hanging out with Dom at Last Stop, and he's like, hey, like we're getting ready to film this. Would you guys want to help out on the shoot? And like both of us were like, well, yeah, of course. We'll crew, we'll PA, we'll do whatever.
Because you guys are also, we can backtrack a little bit, just have your hands in the local film community here too.
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
It's not just the Last Stop series.
we've shot some shorts, and we've helped on other shoots, and
So we've both been making movies. I've been making movies since high school.
yeah,
I know Sam's been in speech and
yeah. I've been
acting.
Well, I was
and
making
since then.
Jackass videos in high school.
Well,
Does
I
that
was
count?
too.
Okay,
Well,
I mean,
okay.
yeah. That's filmmaking.
That's
You're
filmmaking.
right. That's what
Yeah.
started the whole thing.
Yeah.
So thanks, Johnny Knoxville.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it kind of spiraled from there. Like we ended up being there every weekend. I think both of us missed maybe 2 or 3 weekends out of the entire shoot. And that ended up getting us associate producer credits just because we were always there on
Oh,
set
wow.
helping out.
Heck yeah.
Sam's a main cast member.
I'm a
now,
main
too.
cast member
Like,
somehow.
Okay.
It started off as a bit role where I was just going to be a weird customer trying to sell him porn, and ended with me somehow getting a job at
At Last
Last
Stop.
Stop.
Last Stop.
Okay.
Yeah. And so it's been fun. It's been a wild ride. Like the process for it has just been incredible, but it's been so long, and we've gone to some screenings. Like we've had screenings. We have a few more, and I think we're even setting up more in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, we're getting ready for a Blu-ray DVD release. and the response to it so far has been
Yeah,
great.
the response has
So,
been epic.
Yeah.
We just have to wait for that Blu-ray release. Is
Mhm.
that the? Is there any way to see it right now?
In the theaters
Yeah.
Still.
around the area. Yep.
Yeah,
So-
fair.
Yep.
What is it? The 7th and 12th? Or 8th and
8th
12th?
and 12th at the Dells Theater.
Yeah.
Of
in
April?
Del Rapids.
Okay.
Yeah,
April,
in
yep.
Del Rapids. Del Rapids.
And
yeah.
then we're trying to set up other screenings at some of the local theaters around the area.
Sure. Heck yeah.
Iowa, South Dakota, Minnesota, trying to make the rounds with it. Trying to go like the Kevin Smith route where he just like tours with his
Yeah.
projects. That's what we're trying to do with this. Because
Okay.
if we throw it up on streaming, then there it sits and
Mm-hmm.
it kind of just sits there. And if people watch it, people watch it. But if we do this, we can get out in front of them, tell them the story of
kind of build a
how this
community.
started 7-8 years ago. All cast members that were all volunteers. Like no one got paid for this. It was people literally volunteering their time for over 2 years that we worked on this.
Yeah, it was definitely like a
From
2-year
pilot
span.
to
Because the
when we finished
pilot
shooting. Yeah,
the pilot happened, and then like we filmed the pilot in 2021, I think.
yeah. And then we took a year off.
Yeah, it was like a whole year because our director, like, he got a new house, he had kids, like, just
Life. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
and there was just a bunch of stuff that just happened, and then we finally were able to get back and just
Yeah, we filmed episode 2 through 7 in a
what?
7-month period,
7-month
6-month
span.
period,
Okay.
something like that. Yeah,
through some
Every
of the
Sunday.
worst weather. Like, it was so funny. I was talking last night, it was like cold and rainy, and I was getting ready to leave to do the commentary. And Maria, my partner, she was like, seems like every time you do a last stop thing, like the weather's always just
that's
terrible.
just it's South
Like,
Dakota.
And,
It's-
yeah, I mean, that's just South Dakota,
you're
but it is
cursed.
true. We had one episode that we filmed on the coldest day of the year. And
At
like,
least 2 or
it
3
was
of the
3
cast
people.
and crew had to get rides to get there, like because
Because
their
their
cars
cars
wouldn't
wouldn't
start.
start.
Like that's how cold it
jeez.
was, and we still made it out there.
Yeah.
Shot for 5 hours, 6 hours, something like
Wow.
that. Yeah.
Zeke, our director of photography, literally made it from Brookings. So we were all like, no one in town has any excuse.
Yeah, like if he's
Yeah.
made it, then we have
he
to
would,
make it.
He would drive every Sunday from Brookings to Sioux Falls
Yeah.
Wow.
Insane.
to shoot,
That's so cool.
and then drive back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely stoked to see it. I haven't seen it yet, but I need to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun.
And horror fans will like it. There's
Yeah.
Dom didn't let his horror roots get away from him in this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's
Okay.
definitely a comedy still,
Sure,
but like
yeah.
there's a Halloween episode. We set up like a mystery aspect in the show. Like
Okay.
there's stuff horror fans will like in this too.
Nice. Heck yeah. Now I want to talk about Bat Signal, and for our viewers or listeners to know, first, I guess what it is, and that it's like horror books, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. Our friend Doug Morano.
I didn't want to goof it up. It's Bad Hand Books.
Mhm.
is
Yeah,
that right?
Bad
Yeah,
Hand
bad
Books.
hand
Okay.
books,
Yeah.
the bad signal. Yeah,
Yep. And he's been doing this kind of since
forever.
Yeah, I mean he's been in the
In
publishing
publishing game
industry
forever,
forever. And he launched Bad Hand a few years ago, and it is taken off in a way that, like,
It's honestly one of the fastest growing and one of the most the one that people are talking about the most in terms of indie publishers in the horror game.
Okay.
Because of the authors he gets with him and because of the reputation he has as a publisher of working with his authors, working with artists to make sure everything has a brand new cover, has artwork in the books. Like, he knows how to work with people and get the best out of them. And I mean, he's worked with Clay McLeod Chapman, who wrote Kill Your Darling. He wrote the big hit this year, Wake Up and Open Your Eyes.
Wake Up and Open Your Eyes.
Which is like
Terrifying.
arguably like the horror book of the year. Like, it's the one everyone is talking about this year.
Yep.
Okay.
He's worked with Mike Mignola, who created Hellboy. Like,
Yep.
a big name. Chuck Palahniuk, who did
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Fight Club. Yeah.
Choke.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he just, like, they've already been nominated. They've already won Bram Stoker awards, which are like the horror book Oscars. Like, his literally his first collection that he did was a Stoker winner.
Mm-hmm.
And like it's blown up, and he's becoming undeniable in the world of horror publishing. And he likes us enough to be like, hey, do you want to run a podcast for Bad Hand Books? And we were like,
I was gonna ask
we were
how
so
that all
busy.
played out.
We were so busy.
I was the nervous one. I'll admit it here. I was the nervous one. Sam's like, yes, like immediately said yes.
I was
And I'm
like,
like,
we gotta
no,
do
no, we
this.
got to talk about this first because like we're busy. And it was more so like, are we going to have enough time to do this?
The answer
so-
is
No, but we found time because
we
we're
figured
like,
it out.
Yeah.
we're like, we want to work with Doug. Like we love and
Mhm.
respect Doug. Like we think he's an incredible person, an incredible boss, I guess.
Yeah.
And so finally we're like, yeah, we have to do this. Like we can't say no.
Yeah.
And so now we've been doing that since October of last year.
Yeah, we launched it in October.
Yeah.
And
So is that also weekly?
Bi-weekly.
Bi-weekly.
Okay.
So
Every
every
other
other-
Tuesday.
Yep.
So you're
Yeah.
essentially recording podcasts all the time then with Screams and with
Mhm.
Bat Signal.
There are times that we record like 4 different episodes a week. And it's just,
How it goes.
That's right.
just
Yeah.
how it
And
goes.
there's probably a
That's just how it
stretch where you
goes.
don't do an episode
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
a little while too.
And like with a bad signal, we can kind of bank those. So we'll record sometimes like, 3-4 of them in a 2-week
Yeah.
span, and then we're done for another month and a half.
Right. You can
Yeah.
kind of stretch it out.
Yeah.
Fair.
But then we get to like we're in one of those now where we're like getting ready to publish The Last of a Bank, and it's like
Then
we
we gotta
have
start the process
So
all
now we
over
got to
again.
do it all over
Yep,
again.
yep.
Fair.
so yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Now,
Mhm.
for the last thing I want to bring up that I'm very excited for, Screams by Night. Let's talk about that. Sioux
Yeah.
Falls is getting its own horror con, which has to be a first, at least in my generation
Mhm.
here. I don't think I've ever seen a horror con in Sioux Falls.
Mhm.
So talk about where did you guys come up with the idea? How's it playing out? Where's it at? When is it? All the above.
We're crazy people and thought we didn't have enough doing a podcast every week and adding another podcast and last stop in a film festival. We're like, we need our own horror con, obviously.
Fair.
No,
think-
it actually it started.
But I do
before-
believe that story, though, that it's,
no,
like,
it started before the podcast, right? Before Screams, we went and
Yeah.
like looked at buildings to do
Yeah,
a
but
con, right?
between podcasts we were wanting to do a
Something.
con. And it's because like we want a horror con here. Because we have SuperCon and that's great, but that's like everything. You get a couple of guests that are horror, you get maybe a few vendors that are horror.
Mhm.
But like there's nothing that's just
Straight up horror.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I think it's more of like no one else was going to do it, so we might as well.
Like somebody's
you
got
know?
to.
Yeah.
And we have friends in Ottumwa, Iowa, on the east side of the state, that do Halloween-a-Palooza.
Okay.
And they've been
yeah.
doing that, it's over 10 years now.
Yeah, I think
12 years maybe? 12, 13 years? It's been a while.
they're
since they
in the
started that.
teens now, yeah.
And we've been to that twice now.
Yep.
And we saw how they run it and how they do it. And we asked them about it. Like, before we started Screams by Night, we're like, how did this start? How did you guys do this? And it was literally, we wanted a Halloween party. And so they threw it in their backyard the first year.
Oh, wow.
And then they
okay.
moved to a different venue. And then they moved to a hotel that they had it in for like 10 years. And now they're in a convention center.
Nice.
It's like it was just a constant growth of.
Well, you guys
of
have
their
already
con.
skipped the backyard.
We did skip the backyard.
You went right to a building.
Spoilers. I don't have a backyard. Sam doesn't either. So
No.
we didn't have that.
So you didn't have
option.
that choice.
Do I
Okay.
look like I have a backyard
In
in
this
this economy?
Well, you never
We've
know.
watched that. That's a line from last
That's
up
a
that
line
we've
from last
probably watched way too many times now.
yeah.
But yeah, so finally when we launched Screams, I don't know, I think it was kind of doing the late night at the State Theater hosting
Sure.
Yeah.
where we realized, oh, there's actually a horror community here that literally show up to the State Theater just to watch horror movies. They show
Fair,
up wearing
yeah.
their Michael Myers shirts or
Yeah, I love
Jason
that.
Voorhees shirts, and finally we're like, yeah, maybe there is something here that we can do. We can do this.
Yeah. And it's like we kept it small. Like small.
It's still pretty small.
Yeah,
It's getting big, though. I mean, like, it's pretty impressive for a first one. I'll let you guys tell, but the amount of vendors, the celebrity guests for your very 1st
Mhm.
con, that's awesome.
Well,
Yeah.
part of it is just the relationships that we've built from doing SuperCon and our podcasts and film festivals. Like the film festival allowed us to show that we can run something just ourselves,
Mhm.
basically.
yeah.
Podcast has allowed us to create relationships with people, and then working with SuperCon showed us how to do the vendors and run a convention
that.
part of everything. But yeah,
It's like everything in your life has now brought you to this moment.
converged to this. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, I want to kind of like Sam said, it is a smaller event. Like, it's not huge, it's not SuperCon, it's not Crypticon or anything like that, but it's our version of that. So if you like the stuff that we do, the stuff at the state where we like to mix horror and just kind of goofy playfulness, I feel like is our vibe that we have with us and our podcast and all that. And I feel like that's what the con is going to be. We have 24 vendors, we have 3 celebrity guests, we have cosplayers, we'll have panels, we'll have food trucks.
We'll have Terror 29.
We'll have Terror 29 there.
Holy cow, no way.
Yeah.
What are some of the vendors that you're going to have there?
Let me pull up the list because, like I said, we have over 24 vendors. So
that's cool that I kept saying like a dozen vendors. That's awesome. You got even more.
You guys will be there, obviously. Terror 29, Brookings Books and Comics, so you can get your book fixed. Coffin Crew Masks, which we met at Halloween-a-Palooza. They make like custom masks for people. Pretty cool. Gypsy Witch Paranormal, which is a paranormal investigation group here in Sioux Falls, and then they're going to be doing a panel as well. Morbid Society, Game Chest, Skinny Idiot Studio, Cryptic Couture, Hodgebob Productions, which is our buddies down in Omaha who make schlocky horror comedies, which is what they put in their description, which is exactly what they are. New Sound Pro Wrestling will be there. Bad Hand Books will have their books there. Another haunt. Do you guys know these people? Grandma Lou's Hollow?
Oh yeah.
They're gonna be there.
Yeah.
I don't even know where that's at, so I want to pick their brain.
Fair. I don't know them personally,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's like
You know
her.
what it
It's
is.
like grandma, like the grandma's
in her
house.
house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
like, but I guess a bunch of cars drive down. Like that street is super busy when they do that, and it's a whole kind of little outdoor, kind of a home haunt vibe.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really popular.
Yeah, I've never heard of it, so I'm glad they're coming. We're having Nick's Videoland VHS, Wicked Stitches and Crafts, Skelly Boy Art, Sinful Art, Atomic Robot Tattoo, Native Nations Cannabis, and the Transformation Project. And those last 3, Atomic Robot, Native Nations, and Transformation Project, are 3 of our sponsors as well, alongside the Sioux Falls State Theater and Bamboo Panel Studios.
Nice.
So
it's
a lot of
that
stuff.
was
It's
right.
a lot of stuff.
That's right.
Yeah.
All
And that's just the vendors part of it, you know.
and there'll be the South Dakota Ghostbusters will be there. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Krampus.
Krampus is gonna be
Sioux
there.
Falls Krampus will be there in his 2nd appearance.
Yeah,
I
they just
believe.
had the one last year. That's
Yep.
right.
Yep.
Second time.
We have Mark Donovan, the big zombie from Shaun of the Dead, who gets
The record
Recorded
shoved
to
in
death.
the
Record right in the
face.
face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A record right to the face.
and we have Aurelio
Voltaire.
Voltaire. Yeah.
How do you say it?
Aurelio.
How do you say it, Sam?
Aurelio Voltaire.
Yes.
Nice.
Nailed
Ding,
it.
ding, ding.
First try. Cut that first part out.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, musician, writer, director, who's, I mean, if you watch The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, you know Voltaire. And we have Mark Torgel, Melvin the Mop Boy from the original Toxic Avenger coming. And that was purely born out of an interview that we did with him last year on the pod.
Nice.
yeah,
Okay.
We hit it off with him. He asked where he could get one of our shirts, and we were like, we'll just
We'll
send
send
it
you
to
one.
you.
Yeah. Just
Like, you're the Toxic Avenger.
did you get a
want
picture of
t-shirt?
him wearing it? That's
Oh
what
yeah,
you
we do.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool, actually.
That's literally my one thing I said. I'll send you this. You need to send a picture back.
Yeah, hell yeah. I love that.
And he's worn it to like conventions and stuff like that.
Okay.
Like there was
Yeah.
a big Toxic Avenger.
You guys should just keep sending him
anniversary.
shirts all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, last year last year was the 40th anniversary of the Toxic Avenger, and so he did screenings all over the place, and he was wearing our shirt at like most of them.
I was about to say,
Kinda weird.
Wow,
Yeah.
Okay.
it was literally like, I don't know if he just had a ton of fun on our podcast or if he just
Like the
is
shirt
a
or both? I don't know.
minimalist who only has like 3 t-shirts.
Fair.
Because like, I mean, I know some people are like that. I'm not, but he wears our shirt all the time, and it's super cool.
Are you
Like,
going to have Screams by Night shirts at the con?
We won't have them at the con, but they are on our TeePublic store right now.
Okay. And
So
where do
people
you
can-
where do you go to get those?
You can go to like our Facebook, our Instagram. It's all in our links there, and then or just search "Screams from the Basement" on TeePublic.
Fair. On T Public.
T Public.
Nice.
You can buy all of our shirts there. That's where all
Fair.
our stuff is.
Heck yeah.
We don't have money to keep actual inventory.
Inventory?
Money
No,
or
I get that
space.
completely.
Or space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair. And when is this special event happening?
April 26th at the Social in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Nice. Yeah, we'll have our characters there as well.
Yep.
We'll have
Yeah.
our spooky products, NECA, Trick or Treat Studios, and then we're opening the haunted house that night. You guys have a movie going on one of the nights, or both nights, or all the above.
So yeah, like this is gonna be like a whole weekend thing. Like you guys are open the Friday night before
Yep.
for the haunt,
And Saturday for
and
that.
then
yeah.
Saturday night after the con. We're showing the Toxic Avenger that Saturday night
Nice.
at the State Theater, and then Aurelio Voltaire is performing at Club David in Sioux
Yeah.
Falls
Oh,
after the con
wow.
too.
So
on
they're-
that
So, like,
Saturday night?
yeah.
Or okay.
So there's no shortage of things
After
to do.
Well,
parties.
then
after-
also I saw the Paranormal Cirque is also here that same weekend.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so
oh yeah, I
we're
did
gonna
just see
be
that.
competing with them as well. I've actually
I
never-
don't think we're competing with them. People are going to come to our stuff,
Yeah, right.
and then they're gonna go to
Paranormal
the
Cirque has
circus.
been here how many times in a
Yeah.
row? That
Yeah.
Screams by Night has never
Never.
been here.
Yeah.
So it's a once in a lifetime. That's not true. Hopefully you do it again.
Yeah, hopefully.
Hopefully it's not a once
it's
in
But
a
with
not.
these
lifetime.
guests here, probably once in a lifetime thing.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, for sure.
hmm
I'm pumped to see what next year's is even going to spawn into.
Us too, because we don't know.
Yeah,
We have no
right.
idea.
Yeah, we got to get this one over with
Uh-huh.
first. Yeah, April 26th, 11 to 5.
Yep.
And how much are tickets? Where do you get them?
Tickets $10 online. We have an Eventbrite link in our Facebook event for that. Pretty easy to find, or just go to Eventbrite and search Screams by Night. You'll find it there. $10 on there, or $15 at the door.
Nice. And shameless plug, what is your guys' Instagram, Facebook for Screams? like
From
for,
the basement.
Yeah, Screams
from
from the
the
basement.
basement.
Yeah. Well, I know it gets confusing. Not Screams by
I
Night.
confuse myself all the time. Which
I'm like,
Screams
which one am I
talking
supposed to
about.
say right now? Yeah, Screams, isn't it like Screams from the Basement Pod is the Instagram handle?
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, basically, we had to change the handle for each one because each one is different. If you just search "Screams from the Basement" on what do we have now? Facebook, Instagram,
Blue Sky,
Blue Sky,
TikTok.
TikTok. We're kind
old
of on
TikTok.
Threads, but we don't get any interaction there because Threads is Threads.
You're right.
So
I'm surprised
know.
people are still on Threads.
Yeah.
yeah,
Our haunt has one. It just regurgitates whatever it's posted on Instagram.
Yeah,
and goes to
exactly.
Threads.
That's all we do. Yeah.
That's super cool. So I don't want the whole episode to kind of just be a sales pitch necessarily about the con and you guys. So I do have a fun question.
Yes.
If you, each one individually, you had to live with a horror villain for a year, who would it be and what would you do to try to stay alive?
like room with them.
Yeah, like in
if
the
I had
same
to-
house.
If I had a room with someone,
Are they paying rent or
They aren't.
they
actually.
aren't?
Oh.
They're
No.
just bumming it on
They
our
are,
couch.
yeah.
Okay. Good question, man.
if I wanted a horror icon that was just bumming it on my couch,
I'm picking Norman Bates.
Okay.
I'm fine. Like I'm probably gonna be fine. If he kills me, he kills me. I at least know he's gonna smell good. He takes care of himself. He's
Yeah,
not gonna
that's
stink.
true.
Like,
Everything will be clean.
everything will be clean. Michael and Jason like probably smell like crap. Like I don't want them on
Yeah,
my couch. If
that's
they smell
fair.
Like that. He has a business mind. So we at
Yeah,
least know-
entrepreneur can
yeah,
run a motel.
can run a motel. He knows how to clean those rooms because he didn't have
Very
a maid.
well.
He didn't have a maid, so I could use him in
That's a
the house.
really good
honestly.
answer.
Yeah. He knows how to make sandwiches. He made a sandwich in that for Miss Marion Crane.
that's
so.
right. That's right. I'm gonna say John Kramer, the Jigsaw Killer, and that's just because I think he's a misunderstood fellow.
Okay.
And
He
fair.
was in the right.
Yeah, he was in the right on so many of those, and I think he'd be fun to have like crossword battles with. Seems to have a mind for puzzles and
What trap do you think he would put you in?
oh god, hopefully not anything with eyes. I can't do
Is
eyes.
that your thing?
Yeah,
Okay.
eye gouging and gore, like that's I watch like Lucio.
So you love it
Fulci
like
movies
Saw
and,
2
like,
when the
ugh.
dude like puts his eye in that peephole and the gun
Yeah.
shoots him.
Yeah. It's like Saw 2 is probably my favorite Saw, but like it's so hard to watch. It's like the needle pit.
Yeah,
alone
the
is just
needle
like,
pit is
oh,
so
no.
good.
Yeah. So yeah, John Kramer. Mostly because, I mean, like, it's Tobin Bell, too. You
Yeah,
know? Like,
right.
you just gotta... If I was
That's
gonna
who you
ring-
guys need to get next year,
Oh
Tobin
my God, I
Bell.
would
Tobin
love
Bell,
to.
yeah.
You might as well get Shawnee Smith while you're at it, too. Get both of them.
Probably easier to get Shawnee
Oh,
Smith.
totally
than
would be
Yeah.
easier and
Tobin Bell.
cheaper.
I've got so many questions for Shawnee Smith. Like, between the Blob and the Saw franchise, I'm just like,
What would you ask her?
what would I ask her first? Oh, I don't even know. Something about the Blob, probably. Like, that is one of my favorite movies of all time.
The Blob?
The Blob, the one from the 80s with that Chuck Russell directed.
Kevin Dillon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'd ask if she ever ran her fingers through Kevin Dillon's mullet. That's what I'd ask.
Okay.
Because it's a glorious mullet.
What did Kevin Dillon's mullet feel like?
Yeah, what did Kevin Dillon's mullet feel like?
Nice. We'll just chop this clip and we'll post it and tag her and see if
Yeah.
we get a reply.
Mhm.
That might be, that might happen.
Yeah, maybe.
That might.
Shawnee,
And
if
I
you're-
also
if you're
want to know,
listening-
so this is really a question for Sam,
Yeah.
that being kind of a scaredy cat when
Yes.
you go through our haunted house.
Yeah, I'm terrified.
What is your most like silliest, embarrassing kind of scaredy cat moment? Because I've heard you tell me a couple different ones.
Oh my God. I mean, I'm in a perpetual state of fear most of the time.
So is that kind of like, with the Hulk? You're like, right, you're just always mad all the time, and that's how
Yeah.
you get away with it. So you're
Yeah,
just
pretty
always
much.
scared.
I think I like horror because I'm like, oh, like at least it's I don't know, it's a safe outlet to feel scared because I'm just scared like constantly. I don't know, one of my biggest memories, like one of my biggest core memories is like it was a Halloween, I think I was in like first grade or something, and I was in my room and I was getting ready, getting my costume on. And this was before I really was into horror. I was a big scaredy cat, and I had my Anakin Skywalker from the Phantom Menace costume that I was putting on. And my dad snuck in this like cheap ass wolf mask. Like I'm talking like rubber, didn't even cover the bottom of the face, like, and he just like did a little growl behind me, and it scared the shit out of me. Like I turned around, I saw him, I thought my dad was a werewolf. I screamed, I cried, like, and he like whipped the mask off, and he felt so bad afterwards. And about 7 years later, the first horror movie I ever made, I used that mask as the killer's mask.
Oh, that's super fun. It came full circle.
It came full circle, and it's a terrible movie. I still have the DVD of it. But it was me and my 8th grade friends just hanging out in the on one of our farms. One of them had a Christmas tree farm, and we went out into the Christmas tree farm and shot a little slasher where I was the killer running around in a wolf mask and a ghost face robe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
We might have to
Play the
stream
clip.
that at the Vermilion Vortex. Might
Oh
have to do
God,
it then.
yeah.
That would be worth screening.
That
We
I
should
would.
find our
I would do
old
that.
embarrassing
Oh my God, yes.
and
We could-
compile them together.
We could program a whole block. I feel like, yeah.
I think we got some content going. I think that's an idea.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Anything else you guys want to mention? You want to talk about before we wrap it up?
Spay and neuter
Are you
your pets.
are you as I interrupt your like profound statement, are you scarred from Wolfman now, like, or have you like seen the new Wolfman? Are you okay with wolves?
Oh, I love werewolf movies.
Okay.
Like, it's one of my favorite monster subgenres. I have not seen the new Wolfman. I have not heard great things.
You don't need to.
But I
Yeah.
am still
I
am
had
still
kinda, like,
excited.
Is it disappointing that I did have high expectations that it was written by the guy who wrote Saw, that he was going to have some super cool twist or something in it, and it just wasn't. It didn't live up.
Well, yeah, like it and beyond that, his director, like him as a director, doing Upgrade and the Invisible Man remake, which was really good. Like, I'm still excited for this, but I'm going in with tempered expectations.
Sure.
Now,
Yeah, I forgot about Upgrade. That was actually a really good movie.
Yeah,
It was
Upgrade
fun.
rules.
Yeah, that was a fun one, for sure. Okay, so say your profound statement since I interrupted you.
Oh, just spay and neuter your pets and be good to each other.
Be good to each other.
Yeah.
You heard it from Sam himself. Casey, anything you want to add?
No, I think Sam said it.
Sam said it the best. We can't top that. Well, thank you guys for being on the show, Distorted
for having us.
Dimensions.
Thank you.
And I'm sure we'll do a follow-up again with Crumb, have him interview you guys maybe after the con, talk about how it went, and we'll do that. How about that?
Let's do
That
it.
sounds
Let's
great.
do it.
All right. Thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.